what is the fundamental essence of what we're trying to do here at York Hospital? But I think we believe that what we're doing with people is even deeper than the processes, the services, the tasks that we provide with patients, and it's much more about how we share our hearts and souls with patients.
And sitting in my office one day, I thought, I wonder what it'd be like if I asked Sumner if he would be willing to try to create something that captured and reminded us about loving kindness.
When Judd Knox asked me to do the commission, he asked me if I could do anything that would signify loving kindness, and I said I'd try. And as soon as I started to work, it became clear that it was a labor of love. By that I mean the person who was working on me at the time, physical therapist, was Corky Thompson, and she was just doing a beautiful, beautiful job on my new shoulder. And when Judd saw the original work, he said, "Those are good, but you know, the perfect model for you would be Corky Thompson." I said, "Great." Then the irony is that when I looked at Corky's hands really carefully, they were strong, rugged work ladies' hands. They're very much like mine. So the model that I did of a woman's hands, I abandoned, and I did hands that were Corky's, which were really very much like mine. The whole idea of the piece started with a model that I did that had a little family inside the hands, which made very good sense.
And the first iteration was a set of hands with three characters in it, a man, a woman, and a child. And I immediately said, "That's just awesome, Sumner. That's it. You've done it. That's great. What do we do next?" And he said, "Well, let's work it up a little further."
And was building it full size, and the thing weighed about 400 pounds of clay, and I was separately building the little family on a separate armature when my younger son came from California, and he looked at both, and he said, "Looks good, Dad, but don't you think that it would be more universal? Don't you think that it would be, everybody would have an connection to it if you didn't have the little family in there?" When Stu came in, he said we should have a large base, which out of stone. I said, "Stone?" He said, "Yeah, I was thinking of wood, a square wooden base." He said, "No, do you know Albert Raitt was over on 296, the stone collector and mason?" And I said, "No, I've seen the stone yard, but I'd never been there."
Stu gave me a call, told me that he had someone he was working with, he wanted to bring up, and introduced him, and that was Sumner. So the two of them came up, and we wandered around the yard, and they told me what they were working on, the sculpture of the hands, the concept of the loving kindness. And we made an appointment to get together. I went down and looked at the sculpture. It was a clay sculpture at that point. Checked that out. And just to get an idea on size.
So we went over to Albert's, and we looked at all these stones a couple of times, and there was one stone that was like a piece from the Stonehenge. It's about 20 feet tall, big thing, and Stuart said, "You know, if you could take a cookie off the top of that, it would be a beautiful base. Like, that means 2 tons of stone." So Albert cut the top off this huge stone, and we placed the sculpture then, which was done with in bronze, and it didn't look right. So we asked Albert to cut another cookie off this huge stone, and he cut another cookie off, and Stu said, "That's great."
But in the course of eliminating the pieces, we ended up with the one we have. And I think it was really a nice choice. It really complements the sculpture. And that's the whole goal is when someone comes to me and they want to mount a bronze on something, I don't think it should just look like a bronze mounted on a block. I think that they should enhance the sculpture. That way it gives more meaning to the sculpture. They look like they belong together. So in the course of working on it and back and forth and positioning it, several meetings, we ended up with what they have now.
And then Albert went to work on it, and one of the things he did, which is really a miracle, is that I said, gee, it'd be nice if it seemed like the hands were coming out of the stone.
The concept that I wanted was to see the stone on something that had a slight taper to it, almost like the hands could be coming out of the stone.
All I have to do is about 1/4 of an inch, and maybe less, and it'll seem as though it's coming out of the stone. And he was right, it was a beautiful job.
So you had a lot of people looking at it, critiquing it to see how it all fit together, how it was going to look. With the hospital personnel that were in charge of all that was a joy, because they know what they're doing. They've got a good attitude. It was fun.
We also, in this labor of love, we got so much help from hospital people. That is to say, when I finished the clay in the studio, I knew it would be a problem getting out of the studio to the truck, to the foundry. And Jed had some of his guys come by, Steve Pelletier's guys, and they, we worked it out so we separated the hands so that we could take one hand down and then the other hand, which was the only way we could get it out of the studio. It was just too big to get down the stairs as a whole piece. So they did that, and they got in the truck and brought it to the foundry. After we do the clay, we brought it, as I said, to the foundry, and the foundry makes a mold, a rubber mold. As a matter of fact, they had to make 8 different pieces to make it work. And before they did the, after they did the rubber mold, they had the wax, and I went down there and worked on the wax. As a matter of fact, I worked on the clay before that. So I put in, maybe 20 or 30 hours at the foundry. They then cast it in 8 pieces. They welded it together, fit like a beautiful crossword puzzle. And then after it was done in bronze, it's very golden, shiny, and you want to put a patina, a color on it. So I went down and worked with a wonderful patina man, and we came up with the color that we have on the sculpture now. Then it was brought back to Albert's stone yard, and then Albert fashioned the way in which the base would fit, the hand would fit into the base, it wouldn't fall over. And then with great agility and a crane, he was able to move it from the stone yard onto his truck.
when it was going to be delivered that Saturday before the unveiling. It was really interesting because they told me it was going to be at 6 o'clock in the morning or 6:30 in the morning, and I sort of said to Lori the night before, yeah, I got to go in early tomorrow morning because they're going to bring the sculpture in. And of course, the next morning I realized it was a really big deal. It wasn't just about the physical move, that it was a sort of a watershed moment of after working on this project and working with these people, most importantly, for whatever it was, a year and a half. And that was very exciting to see the sculpture on the back of the flatbed. To watch the expertise of Albert and the EVS crew and the environmental services crew figure out how to get this thing in the lobby, and that was very exciting. They moved it around within inches, within fractions of inches, and of course there were at least 15 of us in the room going, I'm not sure, maybe forward a few inches, or I think to the right a little bit, or I think to the left, which at one point I thought was pretty comical. Here are these guys working with a 3,500-pound sculpture, and we're all trying to see if the shadow is just right from the lighting or not. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But the one thing that that got me, really got my attention in that installation was, and Tim, you probably recognize this too, at one point when they were getting into position, and there was probably at least 15 of us standing around, it was very quiet. It was, there was a certain amount of reverence in the air, and it was palpable. Now, I don't know if that was because we're all worried about this 3,500-pound sculpture in the lobby, or whether it was the spiritual representation, but whatever combination it was, it got my attention that it was clearly a special moment.
McGrath, and I'm the chairman of York Hospital, and I have the honor of welcoming you all today to what I think is a very historic event in York Hospital. I think this reveal is something that will go down as a milestone in the history of York Hospital. York Hospital has always been committed to exceptional patient care. Just a few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to look at a study ranking patient care across hospitals all across the country. And York Hospital was there as the model, the one that everybody else strived for. It was the highest rating in patient care of any hospital in the entire country. And I have to say, I'm very pleased to see that. Exceptional patient care here at York Hospital really begins with loving kindness. That's really the foundation. Loving kindness is really the foundation of our exceptional patient care.
With loving kindness, we devote ourselves to others. We respectfully care for each individual without imposing our judgments. We offer love, empathy, understanding, and nurturing. We are grateful for the privilege of helping others. In loving kindness, we are determined to embrace others with dignity, respect, and compassion. Listen, love, and laugh with our hearts. Honor the privilege of being present in others' life journeys. Give unselfishly. Smile, touch, and embrace warmly. Be kind, honest, and genuine. Show thankfulness and appreciation to others, and make opportunities to create joy and happiness. If you join us, Megan, Barb, Stu, Albert, Don, join us. All the Weinbaums, please. You know who you are. Corky, please.
well together. And they work good together. They're a class act. And it was just a joy to be part of it.
The importance and the power of touch in caring for people and supporting folks. It speaks to that power. It speaks to that connection.
When Judd Knox asked me to do the commission, he asked me if I could do anything that would signify loving kindness, and I said I'd try. And as soon as I started to work, it became clear that it was a labor of love.